Bringing it home. What is up, you guys? So I want to show you some pictures from my life from about 2 years ago. This is me, summer of 2013. And I want to ask you, does anybody know what's missing, or can you guess what may be missing from these pictures of my life? No, because I didn't tell you. I was actually suffering through the worst depressive episode that I've ever had in my life. Like any good New Yorker, I struggle with anxiety and depression. But this was definitely the worst. I didn't necessarily want to kill myself, but if this was what it meant to feel like to be on the planet, I didn't really want that either. And the dissonance that I felt between what was actually happening in my life and what I thought I should share publicly online only made my depression that much worse. We are created to perform different identities with one another. That's how we actually interact as humans, and that's okay. But the scale that we're required to do this now with technologies is really starting to make everything that much worse. So I'm here to stage an intervention. So for years, I've been talking about the power of social technologies to create empathetic moments with which we can share these pieces of our lives with one another. I still believe that that's true. I still believe that that's ultimately what fundamentally drives social change even. But where we are right now is we've got things like the Girl Scouts surveyed their membership, and they found that 74% of Girl Scouts thought that other girls use social media to appear cooler than they actually are online. Now, there's so many things wrong with that, but I just thought, oh my gosh, we're teaching children that inauthentic social performance is okay and normal and what you have to do. Leads to stories like that of Madison. You might have seen this story on ESPN. A star student, incredible athlete, she killed herself because no one in her community also really knew the struggle that she was going through. All they saw were pictures like these glowing of her first year life as a student in her Instagram and in her Facebook. I don't think we need to focus entirely on depression and grief and sadness and all of those things either. In fact, one of the only ways right now for us to be emotionally vulnerable with one another online is when something terrible happens in the world. When Black women and men are murdered by police, when queer and trans folk are persecuted and killed, when women lose their basic human rights to well-being and dignity. We come together in cathartic ways to organize in those moments, and that's useful. But we can't expect to live this polarity of amazing bliss and awesomeness and utter grief and horror and not expect something to happen. We're always looking for algorithmically more poetic ways to contain our lives with one another as technologists. We want things to be clean and neat and easy. And as people, we're always trying to advertise the best, most enviable versions of ourselves to one another. But that combination is becoming deadly. We are thrusting ourselves down into a collective depressive dissonance. I talk a lot about empathy. Empathy is hugely important, and there's incredible neuroscience that's associated with how technology interacts with us and our empathetic functions. We also maybe need solidarity, according to my friend Sam Gregory. We need not just empathy, but solidarity. But I think that we need something more. There's more than solidarity that's required to get us through this moment. It's this intersection between authenticity, connection, and vulnerability. And I think that's intimacy. I think that that's what we're lacking right now. Intimacy is what makes us human. It's what is messy and complicated and, drives us probably completely insane and is the antithesis of that cleanliness that us nerd folk are trying so hard to keep straight with our technological lives. What would it look like if we embraced intimacy? If we embraced the messiness and the complication of humanity and didn't just stick our fingers in our ears going la, 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 waiting for some magical technological bullet to solve our problems for us. What would it look like for our work if we actually said that we don't know the answers? We don't know how to interact necessarily perfectly with one another. We don't know, and that's okay. So to quote Asada Shakur in this moment, we must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Thank you.